Lorna Shore dropped a new album. I feel the Everblack Festering within me. We've been following Lorna Shore here for a minute. We had them on the podcast several years ago around the time that To the Hellfire was really taking off. We chatted with Will about that EP.
We met Will's cat.
Yeah, we did. And it's been super dope to, see the rise that they've had since that EP. I saw them off the back of that EP in a 500 cap room, and now in October I'll be seeing them in like a 7,000 cap theater in New York City. Like the shit is nuts. But this record I was very excited for. I'm a big fan of Lorna Shore. There's every time we kind of talk about a deathcore or a death metal band, it's always like this is the small subset of the genre that I like. We would have poor Glory would be talking about the drums every week if I was if I was really into deathcore. But
you still are, man, and I still am. So it's like fuck, man. It's the one genre I still haven't been able to fully crack yet.
But this record is basically just an hour and 6 minutes of just a wall of sound. They just consistently pummel the ever living shit out of you, and I love it. I like to see them continuing to kind of evolve past To the Hellfire, because the sheer mass of that song, it's like hard to be like, well, where do we go from here? Because that song is absolutely bonkers, and then the sheer accessibility that song wound up having, it's like, do we just keep redoing that? And they're clearly not with this record. There's some moments on here that there's a formula to some of the songs that is absolutely apparent, but there's also plenty of songs on this record that do things that I haven't seen Lorna Shore do in their current form with Will as the vocalist now. Yeah, I like I said, I think it's just really solid, but it is a big wall of sound. So it is a lot to take in. I was very excited for this record, but I was sick over the weekend, and I was like, this is not the record I'm going to listen to while I'm not feeling good. I'm not going to like this record if I listen to it right now. So, some of my favorites, my favorite off the record is War Machine, which is kind of like the ultimate definition of what I was talking about with the band kind of doing some things on this record outside of like the formula that they definitely find themselves in with some songs on the record, mainly the singles, all kind of following a similar vibe with some obviously slight variations. It's not a copy and paste 3 or 4 times, but War Machine is out there as a really interesting song and grabbed my attention the first time I heard it. I like the way it opens with the war sounds, and then it obviously just descends into chaos, but that's my favorite. I really, really, really dig that song for the reason of it's bite size. It's 4:54,
compared to the rest,
which is like the rest of the record's 8 minutes long each. So that song is like a 2-minute pop song in reality.
It's easy.
Yeah, and I do like the way it opens, and it's way different from anything I've heard them do. Oblivion, Unbreakable, Death Can Take Me, and then Forevermore as the closer are all favorites of mine. But one thing I will continue to commend this band about is, although these songs are so long, and you look at the track listing and it's only 10 songs, but then you look at it and it's an hour plus runtime, it is daunting. But one thing I will always commend them about is the fact that these songs move. They stay moving, and there's constantly new things being added, and it's not just like, yeah, sure, I keep saying it's a wall of sound, and it is. But there's so many different variations and so many moving parts and so many different points in the songs where things change, and it's like multiple songs in one each time, because there's this big crescendo, and then it comes down, and then it picks back up again, and it's just they keep the vibe moving across the entire record on every single song. It keeps it from feeling stale, which I really appreciate, and makes it feel a little less than the hour. If you're not looking and watching as it goes because you have 7 hours worth of music to listen ahead of it, you will and that's a personal problem. But
yeah, I feel like we're the only people struggling with that. If you have 7 hours of music to listen
you have to review, but if you're not like actively looking to see where you're at in the record and how much longer is left, you're not going to feel that runtime at all. So yeah, I'm a really big fan of this one. I'll be spending more time with it for sure.
I thought this record was fine. You know, it's not my genre. Shane started his review with, we started this podcast and Glory wasn't the biggest fan of deathcore in the sweetest and most respectful way possible. I still am not like a super fan. I think the genre is incredibly impressive. Never in a million fucking years could I create those songs, let's create those fucking the noises that come out of these people's voice boxes, throats, whatever the fuck. It's insane. Props. What I do like about Lorna Shore is they do take you on a journey with songs. It feels like it's like, I mean, granted, the length, it does give you the feeling that it is like 3 songs in one. But it's kind of like a prog deathcore is kind of how I view Lorna Shore, where it's how they switch it up so frequently. And it just takes you on such a fucking trip. I thought it was fine. I really again, it's not my genre, so it's harder for me to kind of say like, oh, this was my favorite because of this. To be completely honest, as someone who doesn't listen to deathcore, someone as the not the target audience, honestly, like to me, it just sounded like one long song. You could take that as a good thing, or you could take that as a bad thing. As for me, it was hard to kind of distinguish the one song from another because, granted, as I said, they're like 8 minutes long, and then it would be like it's just a lot of the same patterns over and over again, and it's so heavy and it's so like you can't like focus on anything in my opinion because it's so just all of it is right in front of you and all of it's like almost fighting against each other to kind of be the main sound in it. It's like Will's vocals are so big and so guttural and so fucking thick that it's fighting against the fucking guitars and it's fighting up against the bass and it's fighting up against the drums. So it just feels like everything kind of piled on top of each other. But as I said, they do still kind of have that dramatic element. They have that prog element where it's covering so many different bases and so many different switches that it does still keep your attention. I like that a lot. I did enjoy the record.
Hell yeah. Like I said, they're kicking off tour here. I think the day that the full review comes out, this clip will come out later, but the tour kicks off this week for this record. Lasts about 6 weeks in the US. Peep the dates. The bill is absolutely insane with the Black Dahlia Murder, Shadow of Intent, and Peeling Flesh. Absolutely.
Peeling Flesh. That's disgusting. Guys, when does it stop?
Absolutely insane. Like I said, I'll probably be there in New York City, which I'm very excited for. So yeah, peep the dates.